Welcome to Cricket 360. My name is Dennis Musali. Your usual host, ILT20 is behind the camera. But today I'll be asking the questions, and I'm joined by former Cricket Cranes captain, Davis Karashani, and Daily Monitor news reporter, and also the media manager for the Cricket Cranes, Innocent Daula. And we're going to be talking about the conclusion of the group stages for the ILT20 Continental CUP here in Kigali, Rwanda. As you can see, we are at the Gahanga Cricket Stadium, the Gahanga International Cricket Stadium. So we'll be talking about the group stages that concluded today. We already know Uganda and Nigeria are through to the finals, but we'll recap a bit to try and connect the dots connect the dots backwards onto the final that will be happening tomorrow afternoon. And I'll be asking these two gentlemen to talk us through those group stages, and let's find out how these two teams made it to the finals and how did the other two teams fare in the tournament. The tournament has had Botswana, the host Rwanda, Nigeria, and Uganda in it. So I'll start off with Davis, someone who has had a bird's eye view of everything. And a lot of, I'll ask in the context of Uganda as well, Davis. A lot of people back home felt that this tournament may be Uganda ranked 23rd in the world. They're thinking that Uganda shouldn't be here. But from your viewpoint, what have been your thoughts about, one, the quality of the cricket that has been played here, and the tournament in overview, because you were the first edition that was in Kenya last year, and then also leading up to the second edition of the Continental Cup. What has been your overview of the tournament?
I think for me, generally, you are especially building on from the last one. I personally feel that these tournaments are important, not just for the individuals, and Uganda are in a privileged position of being 23rd. So it is not a place that they can look to simply distance themselves from the rest. I think it's important for the nation that Uganda is to try and look like they can support and allow others to grow, other members in the region to grow. Because 10, 20 years ago, we did not get that kind of luxury from the teams that were literally leading this region at that time. So you feel that for me, Uganda coming here to play in this tournament, one, gives them an opportunity to draw more daylight between them and the rest, but also more important, allows the younger players, the French players, to try and make the most of that opportunity, get some international cricket under their belts. To like for starters, a guy like a Joseph Baguma, he's gotten some valuable international, what you'd say, experience under his belt. So you're thinking that you do not want to throw him in the deep end when things are, it's a crunch moment. So they can use these kind of tournaments to try and get themselves into international cricket.
All right. And I'll come back to you, Davis. Still about the context of the whole tournament. Maybe I'll ask Innocent right now. For the Cricket Cranes, for them to be here, what does it mean? They can afford not to be here, but for them to come here, what does it mean?
First and foremost, I feel very privileged to be here in Tigari, and privileged to be to have a man who captained Uganda. For me, one of arguably the most successful captains. Okay, Brian Masaya tries to tip him off for that patch momentarily because he took the team to the World Cup. But Davis Kashan, what did he do with Uganda, and what he won with the Cricket Cranes, for him to be holding the mic for me. I give him his flowers now when he's alive. He calls me big bro, and that gives me more impetus to have some swag and pep in my step. But for the Cricket Cranes to be here, many of the guys back at home meaning that because this show is watched all over Africa and the rest of the world, back at home meaning Uganda is many people feeling that Uganda is playing in a Curry Cup of sorts. If you watch the English Premier League, I feel that Uganda have played Big Brother in the right way. You come as a big boy and you make sure the stakes are high. You go for the biggest odds and say, we've put on out there in the wilderness, and if you come and catch us if you want. So the Cricket Cranes have come here in Kigali and have done exactly that. There was a joke going on in the team camp that the coach has shuffled the team left, right, and center, looking for a losing cause, which he has not been able to achieve. And that is, for me, a beautiful storyline, because the coach has given everyone an experience. All the players, the 14 that did travel here, have gotten 5 games minimum. It's a big plus. Uganda is doing things that the rest of Africa would like to see Zimbabwe doing. No shots here being fired at Eli, who is doing the camera work today, and one of the big boys of the show. And Uganda is doing also things that Kenya never did when we were at their peak. And Uganda is doing things that Namibia is helping do for Uganda. So the love is abound. Love is bottomless, and love is in the air for cricket in Africa. The signs are good that the game will truly and go up.
Yeah, and to just stay with Innocent, before, take away the 2, I think there were 2 or 3 that were played in Ginger, the 3 T20 games that they played. Uganda hasn't played any T20 series before the World Cup. Of course, in between there will be the Challenge League before they go to the Africa finals. But is this a series that they really needed to try and work on the combinations, because things have changed a little bit, especially at the top of the batting order? Is this a series they needed for them to try out different combinations as they prepare towards the Africa finals?
The writing was clear on the wall from the onset. The coach Abe Sharma, together with Craig Williams, who's not here, who has been in one of the leadership WhatsApp groups with the team technical team, clearly saying, when we go to Kigali, guys, we're not going to play because we are playing to appease the leaders in the boardrooms. We are playing for ourselves. We've gotten a chance to play an extra game of T20 cricket before we go to the finals. And we're not going to win ugly or win anyhow. We are going to make a process. Because the biggest question was from me, who does the media managing role for the team with you, Dennis, who was asking that, shall we win? Is it one of the goals? And the coach was saying, let's make a plan. Let's build a process and let's try and get formulas to how we shall get ourselves out of tough situations. And in this tournament, you've seen Uganda at 59 for 6, at 39 for 4, at 110 for 6 after 14, and they've dug themselves out of those positions and going to score 170, 180, and 150. And you've seen how people have been thrown into the deep end. Fred Achelam, who was vice captain in one of the games yesterday, coming in to open. Seeing Cosmas Chauta sent ahead of Alpesh Ramjani, coming to show his long levers and get the big blows out of the park to get Uganda into a comfortable situation that people can bowl. So it's that type of camaraderie that has been built around the team that will give them impetus going forward.
All right. Davis, just to look at the three other teams that are in the tournament, as much as Uganda feels that maybe they shouldn't be here, Uganda 23rd in the world, Botswana 50th in the world, Nigeria 36th in the world, and of course Rwanda, who are the hosts, who are 63rd in the world. Just give us a brief of the three teams. What have you been able to see from the three teams, and what did they bring to the tournament?
I think for me, first and foremost, Rwanda as a nation, it gives this tournament gives them an opportunity to show their hosting abilities. I think for me, which they have done fantastically well. The wicket has played reasonably well, especially after 9 match days. We're going into the final, so for them to put together a wicket that has lasted that much time and has not worn out as many wickets, obviously, all over the world do. I think that's the first box ticked. But we've seen a couple of youngsters get into that Rwanda side and put their hands up. It's been a tournament whereby a perfect platform for a guy like Eric, obviously, to retire after 16 years. But more importantly, we have seen youngsters, and you can quickly see that they are guys that they're already breeding and ensuring that they're ready to take up the mantle from a guy like Eric. I was trying to tell a few guys in the comment box that you start to worry right now for a player like Orchide. He's looking like the younger players are fast approaching, and literally they have his slot in their bullseye. So for me, that's the biggest, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest advantages this tournament has done. That's given those younger players a platform to showcase what they can do. But you look at a side like Botswana. Botswana generally have been very top-heavy, and top-heavy dependent on Karabo Motlanka. But in this tournament, you saw a youngster like Kasuman actually put his hand up, play some very exquisite drives, but not just drives, but look to be the addition, to be the second half of that opening combo. So he put his hand up, and Botswana will be looking to ensure that he can continue that kind of progress. In this particular match, we did see Pereira. Pereira had always been a bits and pieces all-rounder. But in this tournament, he's gotten 2 important 40s. He stood up for the Botswana side at a time when they needed someone to stand up. So there will be a couple of things. Pomelo Salas, another example. Kadlo Pitt, for me, was exceptional in the last Continental Cup. You can see that his work on progress has continued to go in that direction. So I like to think that whereas Botswana were not able to get as many wins as they would have liked, there's an element of progress in their unit. Then you speak about Nigeria. I'm one of those admirers about Nigeria. I feel like before the games even start, they have a box ticked of the belief. They have belief in them. They will know that the team that flew here, one came here as champions after that qualifier in Abuja, but they also know that that team is literally the golden generation for Nigeria. In that team, they have about 5 or 6 players that played in that 2018 Under-19 World Cup in South Africa. So they will know that if there ever is a time for Nigerian cricket to break through and make a name for themselves, it is now. So for them to come in this tournament and do as well as they have gone through some very difficult games, but they'll feel the fact that they did not just sneak into the final that is going to be played tomorrow. They literally broke the door down and forced themselves into that final. So I expect it to be a much closer game than many people think.
Yeah, and just to ask Innocent, Nigeria, for them to get in the finals, they had lost 5 on the bounce, but we saw how they played in the qualifier, winning their qualifier C. together with Botswana. They played a lot of cricket before coming here. And of course, Rwanda benefiting from the fact that the other three teams can be able to come here. Do you think, I think, take away Uganda, the competition between the other three teams has really been very evenly matched. Do you feel that, have they lived up to your expectation, especially the three teams, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Botswana? They were literally flexing up all the way up to the final day for who will be in the final.
Yeah, Dennis, I will say the jury was out on Nigeria to come here and defend their reputation as one of the emerging big boys on the continent. Well, their ranking did say that they are big boys. And for Nigeria to come here and play the way they've played, they came here with big boys, of course, a big status, wearing an invisible cloak, a Russian cloak, like as if looking like a magician. But when they came here, things did happen the way they thought they would happen. Won 2 quickly up front and lost 4 in a row. That 4 became 5. And then for them to come today. Today, they showed the other side of Nigeria that they can be ugly, but they can get the job done. They don't care if you're very handsome, they'll just say, we'll get the most beautiful girl in the crowd. And that's what they did, because today they came, they grit out a result out of nowhere, scoring 64 runs in the last 5 overs to get to 151. Even without Sylvester Okpe, for me, who's been getting quick runs for them, firing, and Isaac Okpe, the two Okpe brothers, of course, one another statesman in the team, and are getting a lot of praise from the technical team as a leader on the park. And he did show those abilities. As Rwanda tried to claw back there with some big hits and heaves, he was the man cutting them down and picking up the wickets here and there. So Nigeria have justified that numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, like I always want to say, but the numbers don't lie to you so much. So Ridwan Abdul Karim being used sparingly here, because the shorter boundaries in Tigari, flatter decks, as the sun came out in the later part of the tournament, the people took a liking to his leg spin because he bowls it much quicker. And he doesn't have someone maybe should whisper to him. Davis would be my best man to whisper to him and say, as a spinner, you are there to be hit. So take off the pace, make it slower, make it enticing like Henry Senyondo, and make the world appreciate your talent, because you're coming through quicker. The faster you come, the faster you disappear. That has been his downfall. But from the top, the young Salim Salah, I call him SS, he's been very, very enterprising. You look at that other man on the other side, Solomon Lushowe. For me, a big boy. Then there's a guy who can keep wickets, bowl, some leg spin, and also bat up the order. Isaac Danadi, for me, is the star boy of the team. He gets man of match award, he's giving kisses to everybody in the crowd. He celebrates his wickets in a nice, fancy way. Superstar from them. And then down the order as you've come through, you've seen a couple of youngsters being inducted into the team. One of them, Solomon Chelemanya, hasn't gotten a chance to play one of the under-19s. But Coach Steve Tikolo showing that he still has trust in the youngsters. And he says Solomon has not been playing, but he needs to learn to carry the kit bags first before he can get on to play. And the more time he travels with the senior team, he will learn the culture. And maybe when he comes into the team, he will be very hungry to grab onto the sport and look at it as a golden opportunity to stay in the team much longer. So for me, Nigeria, watch out for them tomorrow, actually, in the final. They could spring up a surprise against Uganda.
Yeah, my man was on them to spring up an upset, especially against the unbeaten team, which is Uganda. But Davis, Uganda 9 out of 9 for them. Probably there's been sort of daylight between them and the rest of the competition. But of the 3 teams, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Botswana, you feel Nigeria the worthy team of being in the final, as we we try and preview the final?
To be exact, I think it's about 17 games on the trot for the Cricket Cranes in the Continental Cup. But I think of the 3 teams, I felt for me, Nigeria had been slightly hard done. I felt they lost some very close games. So generally speaking, the fact that they were pushed and tested, and which test that they actually managed to come out of, speaking of today, yesterday, you just felt that for me, Nigeria were slightly above both Rwanda and Botswana. So for me, they have not made it to the final by mistake. And I hope, again, I feel like they have the ability to be that potential banana peel for Uganda tomorrow.
All right. Anything different the other 2 teams could have done for them to get themselves into the final?
I think both the other teams struggled in 2 phases of the game. One, they had such high dot ball percentages in that middle phase of the game, but also both teams were very guilty of conceding too many runs at the back end. We did see Botswana concede 130 against 130 in 10 overs against Nigeria. We did see Botswana continuously concede over 50 runs in the last 4 overs. So you feel that those are areas of the game that, one, they are not only momentum building, especially going into the halfway stage, but they take away a lot of belief in those teams, especially when they're working off the field. So you want to think that if they can look to reduce the runs from 50 to about even just 30. That 20-run difference may make the difference and allow Botswana and perhaps Rwanda even get closer to winning games.
Yeah, I think something the teams maybe could pick up. You see, as you go up the levels, you need to learn how to score runs off good balls. A lot of the teams struggle with that dot ball percentage because you're not scoring enough runs off the good balls here. You're trying to wait for the loose ball and then you put it away and then eventually you try and keep the scoreboard ticking. So you get 3 dot balls, but one of the balls probably was a 6, but the other 2 were just dot balls. But so speaking the final tomorrow afternoon, do we expect Nigeria to pick up a surprise on Uganda?
I think for me, really, there is no pressure on Nigeria. One, they have broken the door to get into the final itself, but because Uganda won 17 games in a row, all the pressure and expectation would be on Uganda running away with it. So that allows the Nigerians to play with a lot more freedom. They will feel, well, looking at them, you can tell in their eyes they have a point to prove to Uganda. They want to show them that they are not too far from them, and I don't think there's a better opportunity for them to showcase their abilities than tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I could be worried for Uganda because I feel that Nigeria maybe has probably a win against them. But going to Innocent quickly. Today, the national cranial page, some of the key players for Uganda resting, taking the bench. What do you think? What do you feel will be the best team for Coach Abe Sharma for tomorrow's game to try and make sure that this is a clean sweep, 11, 10 out of 10?
Yeah, of course, Abe Sharma, I would like to close it out. He talked about things like let's build a process, let's make a plan, and let's worry less about the results, because if we do the other things right, the results will come our way. The results have been coming his way. Whatever is mixed, it's looked as selling as hot as a hot pancake in Canada. So for tomorrow's game, I think he's going to go with experience. He will be done between thinking, should Simon Sesas continue to stay in the 11? Should Raghav Dhawan? That's where, for me, the juggler is. Raghav Dhawan and Simon Sesas, who comes in at the top. Uganda has been playing and showing a tale of two cities in their armory. A lot of things have been also found out from the way they have recovered, but they have shown that they have an extra gear and the guys have the skill set to deliver even when they're in lots of trouble. With Sachelam coming to open up the order, playing in the middle and scoring runs. And when we came in, Uganda was 6 down. Yesterday, he showed another gear trying to hit it around and play in a beautiful knock of 29 from 23 at the very end with 2 big hits out of the park. So Uganda have all the gears they would love to engage. How they engage them is best known to them. For starters, only 11 can take the field. So tomorrow, Yazat Alisha has a plate full, and it's a good selection migraine for Abe Sharma. The 11 will be exciting. Does Baguma squeezing ahead of who? Does Juma Miyagi and Cosme Sota make the playing 11, or will they be sparing you for that one? So it's going to be a good game to watch, and I would love to see a good final. We'd love to see Nigeria show all the hunger they've had in the tournament when they fought. Things are not going their way when they lost 5 on the trot. Sylvester Okpe saying so many big things at the post-match press conferences. We'd like to say Isaac Okpe getting some big hits out of the park like we saw him in Abuja. He's not been able to master the ball. I would like to say Isaac Danladi marvel and excite the crowd like he's done throughout the tournament.
All right, Davis, as we finish, how does Nigeria win the game tomorrow? Of the 3 games they played in the group stages, they were close twice. But you feel that maybe Uganda got away. Uganda blew them away in one of them, but the other 2 were really close. 1 or 2 decisions maybe in the officiation could have gone their way and the result could have been totally different. But tomorrow, how does, if you are Sylvester Okpe, how does Uganda win the game? How does Nigeria win the game?
I think the Ugandan run clearly. I think the Ugandan run chases have really not been very convincing, especially against Nigeria. If our Sylvester Okpe in his shoes, I'd probably look to, if I won the toss, I'd look to bat first, get a few runs on board. If anywhere around that 140, 150 mark, I think Nigeria will be happy with that and look to try and strangle that Ugandan top order. They don't quickly get out of the block. So anything around that 140, 150 mark, I think Nigeria will be happy with that.
All right, you've heard it from the gentleman. Nigeria taking on Uganda tomorrow in the final of the ILT20 Continental CUP. The second edition happening in Kigali, Rwanda. Uganda has won 9 out of 9. Can Nigeria be able to upset them in the final by making sure that they don't have a clean sweep at this tournament? You and I will watch tomorrow afternoon to find out if Nigeria can be able to do that or if Uganda can be able to go on and win the tournament unbeaten. But that has been the analysis from the 2 gentlemen, Davis Karashani, former Cricket Cranes captain, Nelson Dawla, media manager for the Cricket Cranes and also a reporter of the Daily Monitor. I've been your host, Dennis Msali, and we'll watch and see tomorrow what happens. Who will be our champion for the second edition of the ILT20 Continental CUP?